There's really no need for an introduction for our guest today, but we are going to introduce him, and he's already began to kind of introduce himself. Please be aware that this podcast is being brought to you on YouTube. So if you're watching the visuals, I really encourage you to check out this podcast on YouTube because you can see my guest here, Enrique Pascal. Also brought to you on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, and anywhere else that a podcast can be identified. Definitely check out the Randy Wilson podcast. We are the new up-and-coming podcast out of Richmond, Virginia, and we are more than willing to get in a car or plane and come to you as well. I also want to encourage everybody to follow me on Instagram at rwilsonpodcast. And again, thank you for all your likes, shares, and subscriptions. That's what keeps podcasts going. Okay, but on to our guest, author of What Does a Real Man Look Like? And we have two versions of that.
Yeah.
We have a version that was released in 2013.
Right.
And the most recent version was released when?
2019. This year, February of this year.
Hot off the press.
Yeah.
Okay? And it can now be purchased on Enrique's website. Enrique, please give them your website.
EnriquePascal.com. Let me spell out the name Enrique because folks be like, Enrique.
Yeah.
That's EnriquePascal.com. Also on Amazon. There's a hard copy, the Kindle version as well.
Yeah, so I mean, there's no excuse for those of you who, is it audio as well, or?
Well, no. But
okay.
I was told just this weekend that the Kindle plays the audio.
I think so.
Yeah, the Kindle.
So for those of you who are lazy, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Because there's an opportunity for you still to get the words of Enrique Pascal, and I mean, it is definitely a pleasure, sir, to have you today. It's a pleasure. Also, drop your Instagram because your Instagram is very active.
Yes, Instagram. I am Enrique Pascal.
Enrique Pascal was born in Panama, and he departed his native land at the age of 5. His mother chose the borough of Brooklyn to be the place where she raised him and his sister. He adapted quickly to the fast-paced life and developed a hunger for better at an early age. Growing up in a fatherless home was very hurtful and challenging for Enrique, but it did not stop his drive. He used it as motivation. In 1993, Enrique began a successful promotion company named All or Nothing Productions. His company became one of the most sought-after corporations in the entertainment industry. Listen to this. He arranged parties and concerts for many in the world of hip-hop. Also, Enrique worked very closely with Jay-Z, Dame Dash, and Kareem Biggs as they formulated Rockefeller Records. I will say that again. He worked with Jay-Z, Dame Dash, and Kareem Biggs as they formed Rockefeller Records. Back then, Enrique was known as Tone, and he was branded as Tone Capone, a.k.a. the party promoter. Enrique's determination helped him to experience success at a very high level. You could see him featured in music videos on BET, MTV, during the most prime era in hip-hop. I mean, we all know that the 90s and the early 2000s was probably the best time in hip-hop. Yeah. And no better time than to be living in hip-hop culture at that time. Right. You could see him on the movie Backstage. In February of 99, he was a part of the history-making tour, The Hard Knock Life, visiting 55 cities in a 10-week period. Now, after an encounter with God, he chose to leave that career and began a spiritual journey which has impacted the lives of many people. Enrique has went from being on stage, performing in front of 20s of thousands of people, to now being on stage in front of thousands of people doing life coaching and career counseling and marriage and family therapy, leadership development. God has definitely had a plan for Enrique's life, and I think one of the most special things about Enrique is that he is living that life. He is a dedicated husband, father, author, speaker, and the founder for Fit for the Kingdom Global Ministries. Fit for the Kingdom is a ministry which focuses on the total person, spirit, soul, and body. The mission of this ministry is to get God's people fit in every sense of the word. God desires that we are all healthy from the inside out. And my mission is to bring, and Enrique's mission is to bring his will to the earth. So with no further ado, Enrique Pascal.
My man.
Thank you, sir.
All right. My man.
Yes,
thank you for having me here, man. I appreciate it.
Man, it's really a pleasure, Enrique. I knew you before I knew you.
Sure.
And I don't really claim to like overly know you, but I mean, everyone I know knows you.
Sure.
So I've been I'm a sponge for learning people through people, and I've had the pleasure of listening to you speak.
Yeah.
I've read your first book, follow your Instagram heavy. I see the things that you and your wife are doing.
Sure.
It's really I see it as I see you as providing mentorship for everybody, but particularly men,
Right.
and particularly for married couples.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think you're just really living your testimony.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that, man. It's nothing like doing what you were created to do. Like we were all born with a special DNA. Every one of us. Like nobody's born just because. Like when you're born with an assignment and a mission. And it's our job to discover that. And once we discover that, then the world becomes a different place. Like that's the reason why, people we heard this for years, like, the next Michael Jordan, the next Michael Jordan. We're not gonna see another Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
God didn't make two mics. He only made one. Just as God did not make two snowflakes that are the same, he didn't make two people the same. But it doesn't mean that my gift is any different than a Michael Jordan's. We all have a special gift and a talent in the world. That's everybody, no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's when there are people like Michael Jordan or Enrique Pascal or Jay-Z or any of the people that we talk about today. These people are just examples.
Sure.
So we have to live and believe that better is always yet to come.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
There's going to be someone better than Michael Jordan. Arguably, today's generation will say LeBron James.
Right.
Or Kobe Bryant. Depends on how you define better.
Right.
So, Enrique, I believe that the man you are today is a revived and much improved person than who you could have been 20 years ago.
Right.
But for a lot of our audience out there who's following this podcast that are artists, I know that you are going to be an inspiration to them, not only as being an artist, because you're an artist yourself. You're creating an amazing life. Right. I tend to think that everybody's an artist because everyone is creating life. This is the most beautiful thing that we can ever create is our life.
Right.
But for our viewers that are artists, particularly men, I believe your story can be very inspirational. So I want to start a little bit in just getting you to kind of share with the audience a little bit about how you originally got in the entertainment business.
Right. Yeah, so I met Jay-Z back in 1992. And this is before he had the deal, before people knew who he was, really. He had a couple of things, but out Hawaiian Sophie and different things that he did back then. But nobody really knew about Jay. If you knew about him then, you was really into hip-hop for real. So, I always saw something in Jay. He was a talented guy back then. We used to drive from New York to, like, Maryland. In 2 hours, he'll just freestyle nonstop. I mean, the guy's just rapping for 2 hours. And I'm like, dang, this dude he can go. Like, for 2 hours, we're driving, and he just rapping the whole time. So, it's crazy, man, when you see that, man. So we began to develop an awesome friendship. He dated my sister. They dated. They were involved with each other for quite some time. I actually did a song called Song Cry. And we were speaking about her.
That's your sister?
That's my sister, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was her. Stephanie's her name. I tell people all the time, he was going to marry Stephanie, but she couldn't sing as good as Beyonce, so he he chose Beyonce over Stephanie because Beyonce had the voice. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, we developed an awesome friendship, man. And when Jay-Z began to make moves in the record industry, and some things were happening, I came to him. I had a vision, and I was like, yo, you going to make it big one day. And when you make it big, I want to be the dude to do your after parties. He was like, what is that? I'm like, yo, after you do your concerts, I want to do the after party. He was like, okay, bet. So I never forget it, man. We was in Hampton, Virginia, man. And he came to me. He was like, yo, you still want to do those parties? And I said, yeah. He said, bet. We going on tour. And that was the Hard Knock Life tour. I was like, bet, man. You know what I'm saying? Yo, let me tell you something. That was history, man. I mean, 1999, we got DMX. We got the Rough Rider movement. We got Redman, Method Man. We got Jay-Z on the same stage. Oh, God.
So you telling me at that time now, Jay-Z's huge at that time, though, right?
Well, not really. Like, he's coming into. He's not huge yet. Like, he's coming into.
Are you working with other artists at that time as well, doing club promotions or?
Well, what happened was, so Jay-Z.
Because, I mean, it sounds like you went straight to, you're saying he's not quite there yet.
Right.
But you're there. You are him at the same place.
We did.
He's dating your sister.
Yeah.
So like, are there other artists that are like under him or above him that you're working with?
No. So at this point, he opened the door for me to touch other folks.
Okay.
So when they saw me work with him and the success, it opened the doors for a lot of other people. And when that happened, it was just, man, it was amazing.
Man.
Yeah.
It's just amazing God's timing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a very special. Okay. That's great. I haven't heard that story, and I did not know that your sister Stephanie was whose song "Cry." And I'm a major Jay-Z fan. Not just from the music. Well, part of it is that coming up in that mid '90s era, we watched him change clothes.
Oh, absolutely.
So I changed clothes.
Yeah.
So it's like as he's evolved in hip hop and in music, I've looked at him as a model for our culture in a lot of ways, not always, but a lot of ways, from just as a businessman and the way he's moved and the doors he's opened. And I said, I think he's definitely been an example for a lot of people within the hip hop culture. Even if he wasn't a musician, you've just seen him go from jerseys to button ups, from this place to that place. So yeah, I'm a major Jay-Z fan.
I think it's important too, man. One of the things about Jay that amazes me is he always saw himself as a movement. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of guys back then, or even now, may see themselves as rappers or singers or whatever, right? But for him, he was always a movement. Mm-hmm. So he always believed that he was dictating the culture. And I want to say that, man, one of the things that's very important is it's very important how you view yourself. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, if he would have saw himself as just a rapper, then he would have been just that. But if you see him now, and it bugs me out to see him, almost 30 years later, how he has evolved.
Yes.
That's crazy, like, to see how he has evolved after all this time. And I'm like, wow. But I can pinpoint it. Back then, when nobody knew him, he knew that he was the movement. Look, you got to know. Like, your people out there, listen, y'all got to know this. Like, somebody may look at you and tell you, you can't do it, you can't make it, you're this, you're that. Man, what do you say? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, if you can talk to Jay, he would tell you. He said, I'm not, he said in his rapper, in his rap brother.
I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman.
I mean, he called it out. Mm-hmm. Nobody told him that. You know what I mean? So you have to know that you are business. You are a movement. You are these things. And if you know that, then nothing can stop you.
I don't know when it was. I'm a nosy person. I'm a follower. I'm an internet snob. I'm on it. I saw you. I don't know if it was On the Run 1 or 2, but I think I saw you backstage at one of the shows.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you've maintained that relationship.
Yeah, man. We reconnected. Actually, man, we had disconnected for some years. Mm-hmm. And there was no reason, nothing, no beef or nothing like mm-hmm. that. It was just that, when people are going on two different paths, you end up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, he went left and I went right mm-hmm. at some point. And through that, we disconnected, but love never left.
Yeah.
So when we reconnected, man, it was like seeing my lost brother all over again. Wow. It was like we never missed a beat. You know what I mean? Like, we hugged up on each other, showed mm-hmm. mad love. Because we got history together. Like, when you know somebody from the ground up and you accepted them when they was at their worst on both sides.
Yes.
It's nothing like it. Like, because he knows and I know that what's here is authentic. It has nothing to do with who he is and what he does.
So your relationship with Rockefeller Records primarily was with Jay-Z because that was your guy. However, Dame and Kareem, those relationships solid or just kind of they was in the midst?
No, it was all right. We were cool. I mean, we were cool. We all have mutual respect for each other. Mm-hmm. Dame is cool. I consider Dame to be, cool. I consider Biggs to be cool. But we didn't have the same level of friendship that Jay did. Because, I mean, Jay and I, we spent more time together. Jay lived with me for a minute. We lived in the same household.
Wow. So, I mean, you basically was a contributor to Jay-Z coming to Virginia. There's all the Virginia stories. Yeah. You was that.
Well, let me say Stephanie and me. Let me just say that.
Yeah, definitely want to credit Stephanie.
Stephanie and me.
Thanks, Steph.
Stephanie and me. We were the reason why he came to VA.
Tell me, Enrique. Can you describe the highs and lows of that time in your life? You're traveling the world, 55 cities, and ninth, just like snap, like you're moving and shaking. Because as we move forward through the interview and we get to where you are now,
Yeah.
I imagine obviously the highs were extremely high.
It's crazy.
But I would imagine that the lows were pretty low because I believe that your story,
Yeah.
most things that move in the direction that you've moved, in my opinion, particularly knowing how you've moved with and through God.
Yeah.
I would imagine that the lows were pretty tough.
It was crazy. But you know what? That whole movement was crazy. Like you can't put it in words what it was to be. Well, you got to understand, like, that tour was the first tour that happened since Run DMC.
Okay.
So that tour was the guinea pig, if you would, the Hard Knock Life tour. They said if this tour will succeed, then we're going to make it happen. Because back then, insurance companies didn't want to cover the Coliseums.
Gotcha.
It was like having all these young blacks together. Hip hop is going to be tragic. Not one incident. 55 cities in 10 weeks, not one incident.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
Yes.
But the movement was so crazy that everybody involved knew, like, yo, we got to do this because this tour is going to dictate if other tours happen. So the whole world was looking at it like, yo, what's going to happen here? You know what I mean? And I mean, CNN covered it. I mean, everywhere. It was on the news. You know, it was just a movement. So people was like, wow. So the highs was, you know, we did feel a sense of responsibility. Mm-hmm. You know, but then when you saw all that came with it, like being actually behind the scenes, to see all that, the preparation, to see, there was a lot that I saw that I never saw before, a lot that I experienced that I never experienced before. You know, it was a heck of an experience. But the lows was that for me, and I can't speak for no one else, but for me, wanting more.
Okay.
At some point, like not during that tour, but as my career began and I started working with other artists and making all this money and traveling and stuff like that, it became old. Because what I was doing was I was just collecting, but I wasn't giving back in return. And it made me somewhat of a monster. It did. Because what I did was I took that street mentality. The reason why they called me Tone Capone is that I took that gangster street hood mentality that I had in the streets before becoming this promoter. And I just took that energy and threw it into the music. You know, so when I say that, I mean as far as promoting and pushing artists out there. So I was a thugged out hood type of cat, and I just brought that to the table. Mm-hmm. But when I was growing and developing and coming into the person who, you know, I eventually became today, man, I realized that there was more that I needed. And being on tour, sleeping with 4 women in one night, you know, being treated like a rock star, going to the airports, dudes saying, here go my demo, all of that became old to me. Yeah. You know, and I wanted to escape it, to be honest with you. That was my low. Yeah. And nobody understood it. Like, I remember one time, let me just keep it real with you, like, you know, we used to, of course, being on tour, you know, you got all these groupies. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's part of the business. Yeah. And, you know, being young and green, you like, yo, I can get with this girl. So that's what we were doing. Like, we was just doing our thing. And I remember, man, this is when I knew some things were changing for me. Like, I had this girl in the hotel room with me, man. And everybody knew I was in there having sex with her. But I wasn't. Mm-hmm. I was in there preaching to her. And that was bugging me out. Like, yo, I was like, why are you here? She was like, huh? She think we gonna have sex. And I'm like, look, you gonna be here and these dudes gonna dog you out. They gonna run through you. You gonna leave here empty. Look, man, I want you to go home. And she looked at me like, are you serious? That's not what she expected. Yeah. And truthfully speaking to you, that's not what I expected. But I just didn't want her to be a part of the number. Someone else added to that. Yeah. I don't know why, but something happened there.
Something was happening.
Something was happening.
Something was happening within you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And here's the ill thing about it, right? Everybody knew that I was in there doing something that I really wasn't doing, right? So what happened was I wasn't being my authentic self. Like, I had to be a certain way in front of the dudes to still be down. But then behind the doors, I was trying to be somebody different. Wow. You know what I mean? Yes. So I knew then something's going on. I couldn't explain it. I couldn't put a finger to it. But I knew that something is going on because I don't like how this feels no more. Yeah. And I'm doing this at the top of my game. So I'm like, yo, something wrong, man. What's going on here?
Or something's right.
Yeah, something is right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what being born in Panama, raised in Brooklyn, what led you to Richmond, Virginia? At what point did you make Richmond, Virginia a home?
Well, I wanted to get out of New York, man. New York was crazy. I wanted to get out of New York, and I had an uncle who was a retired military, and he lived in Hampton. So I moved down there to be there, and then eventually made my way here. I thought that, I was like, yo, I got to go to Richmond, man. Richmond's the capital, stuff popping up in Richmond, right? So that's why I came. But I'm glad I came because I met my beautiful wife, Katrina. What's up, girl?
Who is known as probably like one of the most phenomenal hairdresser type, designer type in the area.
Yeah, thank you, man. So man, so that was all in God's plan.
All the women get their hair done there.
Yeah, love my hair.
Shout out the company.
Shout out to Love My Hair, man. Yeah, that's
Go follow her on Instagram.
Yeah, follow her, Katrina at Katrina Healthy Hair. Yeah,
get your hair done. So, Big Star commented on my Instagram page. I made a post Sunday. I like posting on Sundays and Mondays sometimes.
That's my guy. Big Star, what's up, kid?
Yeah, Big Star commented on Instagram saying that, you showed a lot of love to him as a Virginia artist.
No doubt.
In the transition of coming to Virginia, what other Virginia artists did you work with or connect with in that transition?
Shout out to Mad Skills, man.
Mad Skills.
I remember, man, us going to what was that? After 6? No, at the bottom. What
I wasn't here at that
What
time.
did Orlando have at the bottom, man? It wasn't After 6. I forgot the name of the club, but him and Jay performed down the Shaco Bottom, at that club. I forgot the name of it. It escapes me now some years ago.
He opened up for Jay? Skills did?
Well, it wasn't a show. Like, Jay came back then, radio was doing promo and stuff like that. And Jay knew, like, yo, Mad Skills is from VA. I'm in VA. Let me shout him out. So they was on stage and they performed together. But it was a real small club. But again, it was the beginning. Actually, it's the picture that you posted with me, Jay, and Skills.
Yes.
That spot right there.
Okay.
That spot right there.
I'm trying to think what the name of that spot. I'm familiar because I know some folks. They always talk about that club.
Yeah, it was Orlando. That was before After 6, man. I forgot the name of that joint too, but the little joint down at the bottom.
Okay. Yeah, I was really interested. Any other artists? Because I like to shout out as many artists as possible because then we can hashtag them and give them.
Skill Style. Let me see who else. I don't know. It escapes me.
I got it. It's fine. Yeah. That's fine. All right. I just wanted to get that out because I wanted us to have that story, particularly for the art community. But I want to pivot forward now. You've developed into becoming an amazing speaker, father, husband, relationship coach, counselor, and just all around class act. I saw you in Webster's Dictionary. I've had the privilege of reading your book and just knowing so many people who have so many positive things to say about you, Enrique. So let's get into the book a little bit. What does a real man look like? If you had to describe it in a very concise, easy way, what does a real man look like?
Let me just say this before I answer that question. So people want to know where that book came from.
Okay.
I was doing a radio show, and I got an email from a girl. And the email, she said, Enrique, I need your help. She said, my last 3 relationships has drained me. She said one guy who I dated took my credit cards and ran it up. One guy was married, did not tell me. And one guy was gay. And I did not know. And she said, what does a real man look like? Wow. I know, right? So during this time, man, this is during my evolution. I'm evolving. And I tend to think I'm someone who has some level of intelligence, So when she asked me that question, man, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know. I was stuck. Because I'm like, what do I put here? I'm ready to type and I'm stuck, right? So now this is during my spiritual transition. And I go in the prayer and I said, Lord, according to you, what is the definition of a real man, right? And when I asked that question back in 2013, was it 2013? Yeah, 2013. Man, I was shut down. I spent an entire year writing and discovering principles that I did not know because not having a father figure, not having a positive male role model in my household, being in the era of Nino Brown and Scarface, that's what I thought manhood was, right? So I went through this journey, man, and what I found out ultimately is that a real man is someone who lives outside of himself. right? A real man is a man who embraces death over life. In other words, every day I die. I do. I die every single day because I have to die so that someone greater can live on the inside of me, right? And through my death, the ego, the pride, the machoism, the manism, all of that stuff goes so that my wife can be free to be who she is and my children can have an environment that's healthy without all of those things in the way.
Okay, keep that because later on, I'm going to share with you some issues that I feel like I have as it pertains to thinking about death.
Okay.
Because I think about death a lot, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna when I think about it too much, quite honestly. But I don't know if I struggle with knowing if that's good or bad. I tend to think it's bad because we are in life, but the way you answer that question,
Well, yeah. See, for me, it's not a physical death. It's a death to the things that will keep me from living.
okay,
Right? See, unless the seed goes into the ground, it has no purpose.
okay,
A seed must go into the ground and go to germination, and then so that's a form of death.
okay,
And see, so I must go into the ground and germinate.
Okay.
In order that comes out, what comes out of me is the fruit of life.
understood. Okay,
So I
that's
died.
deep.
I died to the things of the world, and I live to the things of the spirit in order to be this person who I am today by
Okay.
choice every day.
Okay, okay. So what does a real woman look like?
A real woman is a woman who supports the vision. The woman is the. Let me say it this way. All right, let me give you a perfect example. You ever wondered why in the Bible, when God came to Adam and Eve in the garden, why did he go to the man first? You ever thought about that? Because the woman grabbed the fruit first, she ate the fruit and gave it to the husband. And for years that blew my mind, right? But what I learned was that the reason why God came to the man first, even though the woman did what she did, was because the man is the foundation of the family. The man is the foundation. God is a builder. And when he built the family, he built from the ground up, not from up down. He built all builders build from the foundation.
Yes.
Right? So when he built from the foundation, he said, Adam, you're the foundation. So when Eve, the first floor, made that mistake and did what she did, God did not check her because if he saw the first floor leaning, he knows that there was a problem with the foundation, right? So the foundation must be in place for the woman to be able to do what she was designed to do, and that's help, support, and bring forth that vision, give birth to it, and make it better. A woman is a multiplication system. Whatever you give her, she gives it back to you with interest, right? If you give her raw meat and potatoes, an hour later, she gives you a meal. You put her into a house, 2 weeks come back, she makes it a home. You put sperm in her, 9 months later, she gives you a child, right? So a woman is a reproduction system. So when a man is in place, together they work as a team, and she takes what he gives her and makes it that much better.
Man, I'm gonna need a outpatient therapy session after this. Because, I mean, that's real. I mean, there's a lot of men that we just go through things. First off, I feel like one of the biggest issues within the black community is that when it comes to transparency and men really having open, honest dialogue, first off, creating a community where there can be men who can have those type of conversations with other men. Mm-hmm. That sometimes is missing as a result of men not being within the community, men being incarcerated, detached homes. A lot of times our peer group as black men is just some communities just kind of torn. So where do we get our mentorship? Where do we get our guidance? Where do we get that support? I feel like there's a lot of married men and a lot of single men, and I know this just based off my experiences reading your book, that could benefit from more sessions, more. We don't have enough time in this podcast to really go into it, but that's what I appreciate a lot about what you do on your platform. You're ministering scripture and unrelated, everyday real life terms, and I think you come across as a very authentic, transparent person. I think people who've been able to follow you over your career, they've seen the evolution of who you've become as a man, and to me that makes you that much more believable than sitting in a church and just listening to someone speak or minister. Not that there's anything wrong with that either, but there's a lot of people that have views when it comes to just even the Bible that these are stories that was written by some white man, and who's to say that just because these stories were written at that time, that makes all these stories necessarily accurate?
Right.
If in today's time, hypothetically, if a new Bible was written, we'd be writing stories about what's happening today. Like back in those days, there was no internet.
Right.
So how are we to know that, whether we're talking about Noah's Ark, that's anything significantly different than the flood situation that we had happen in Houston not too long ago? We don't know. We don't know what happened back then other than what we read, and we have to interpret it this for ourselves. But today we have more knowledge, more intelligence. We've been able to evolve, so it's different. I have issues sometimes with being able to interpret the Bible, quite honestly.
Well, the thing about it is, so did I at first. And what I do is I allow God to interpret for me. And that comes through relationship. Because there's a lot of things that you would read and not understand.
Yeah.
So why not go to the creator of it so you get the true understanding?
Yeah.
Right? Because now if you have to lean on your understanding and I leaned on my understanding, then we can go different directions. But the good thing about the truth is there's only one truth. It's only one.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only one truth. Like that's the reason why, like, for example, like you right now, let's say you went down the road, right? And there's a stop sign. I mean, there's a speed limit sign on the highway that says 55. Right? That's the truth for the highway. The sign is there. Now you can interpret that and say that 5 is a 7 if you want to. You can get a ticket, right? You could go to jail. You gonna get a fine. You're gonna have to pay higher insurance. But see, the truth doesn't need interpretation. That's the reason why you can walk to a crime scene and see a dead body, yet the body speaks to you even though it's dead. The truth don't need interpretation. See, it's not up for us to interpret it more so than to receive what's there.
Gotcha.
A dead man can't speak, and yet when someone goes there, okay, they got shot there, this happened there. How is that happening? The truth is always speaking. The truth was here before we got here. It would be here when we leave. It doesn't need to be remixed or changed by nobody because it always speaks no matter what.
So let me ask you a question, and I want your truth with this. What's the balance in thinking about death as far as healthy or unhealthy?
Well, I don't think of physical death.
At all?
No, I don't think of physical death.
Okay.
Although that's going to happen, I'm too busy living to think about physically dying. Like if you think
That's
about...
a very common thing amongst people, though. I mean,
Right.
you're a very mentally tough. You're strong
Right.
in that ability. I mean, a lot of people do fear
Right.
pain. They fear the anticipating what death could be like.
Well,
due to, particularly people who have poor health,
Right.
mental health, physical health, nutritional health.
But see, the thing about this is, right, the same energy that you put into thinking about death, you could put it into thinking about life. Right? You attract what you think. As the man thinks in his heart, so is he. Like, you become that very thing. You know what I mean? So you can take the same energy that you're putting into death, you can put into life. We all have a day. I don't know what my day is. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because my plan is that when I do leave here, I'm going to leave here fulfilled. I'm going to leave here with a mark. I'm going to leave here empty. That's my thing. You know what I mean? So, like, if you keep thinking about death, I mean, look at Biggie, for example. Biggie talk about dying. He got exactly what he talked about all the time. Look at Pac. You know what I mean? Look how so many people just glorify death. Well, won't you take that same energy, man, and glorify life? You know what I mean? There's so much that we can be doing and should be doing and offering to the world. Look, if you are busy living, you don't have time to think about dying.
Gotcha. That's to me, those are words to take away, particularly I am, and the audience. I think it's a matter of like learning how to condition yourself, who you surround yourself with, what you eat, what you see, what you allow to take in. And you spoke to that again. And a big part of that is also from a balance standpoint, the type of woman or a type of man that a person has in their life as a support system.
Sure.
That plays a major factor in keeping that balance.
Well, like you just stated, we have a responsibility of a lot of things, okay? We have a responsibility of taking good care of ourselves, all right? Being around the right people, eating the right food, exercising, drinking water, not drinking alcohol, not taking drugs. I mean, all of these things play a part in it, right? Your environment, all of these things play a part in it. You safeguard yourself. You extend the quality of life. Look, there's a research that says a man who is married is more likely, in a successful marriage, is more likely to live 12 years longer than a man who isn't.
Wow.
See, connection, right? That connection gives me 12 years of life versus someone who don't have that positive connection. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So God created us for connection. This connection right here is important. We're bigger than this. Like, we're gonna do more than just this.
Yeah.
So when you meet someone, you have someone that you can take what you're doing and what they're doing, and when you combine it, you do much more for the greater good of mankind. I'm not looking to get something from you. I want to get something to you. That's my intentions.
Gotcha.
Like, when I meet someone, my intentions is, what can I give? I'm not looking to take from you at all. You know what I mean? Because my source of receiving does not come from a human being. It comes from God himself. So if I'm busy giving, if I'm busy living, then where is death in the equation of it all?
Powerful, man. You definitely giving a lot to us today, man. You're giving a lot to us. You're giving a lot to the audience. You're giving a lot to the community, the world, with your platform and just basically how you're ministering. And I really appreciate it. I look up to you. But at the same time, I look across to you, you know what I'm saying? And I recognize, I mean, you was an inspiration for me, quite honestly, with starting this podcast.
Wow, man.
I don't know if
You're doing a great job, too, man. I'm really proud of you.
I appreciate it.
Man.
But
Awesome.
you've been an inspiration to me ever since I first heard you speak.
Wow.
And I think that's my hope for this podcast is that whether it's myself as well as my goal to be a blessing to others, but that's why I wanted you on this podcast. I think I spoke to you in the very beginning when I told you I was going to get, and I just had to get myself to a place where I felt like I could handle this professionally so that we could put out a quality product.
Yeah.
But you're doing so much that the audience who receives this message today, particularly the men, is critical.
Yeah,
it's critical
absolutely.
for the development of mankind.
Yeah. Well, you know what, man? What I would tell people out there is you got to maximize where you are. And I think as people, we are so busy thinking about the end result. And that's good. Use the end result as motivation. But see, before the actual talk show begins, this is my camera, man. You know what I mean? Like, my iPhone's my camera, dude. Like, I'm on this iPhone every day, man. I'm putting out 1-minute videos, man. They don't see the 30 takes. Like, nah, that don't come out right.
You ain't one take hold?
Well, I mean, you know, but you know what, though, man? When you are on the path and you're a perfectionist,
yes,
you like that ain't come out right. Let me do. You know what I mean? So there's sometimes where I'll be like, all right, just off the rip, right?
Yeah.
But there's sometimes where I will look at it and sit on it and meditate because I know that this is going to the world.
Yeah.
This phone is so powerful. I was telling my cousin the other day, like, yo, you don't need a record deal. This is your record deal. Boom, hit 16. Press share. The world sees it. You know what I mean? Like, right now, we are in the greatest time in history because of a phone, man.
Yeah. I know when Terrell and I got this thing going in the beginning, we were just sitting in the basement talking, and we was like, it's the most beautiful thing. I remember the conversation very vividly. When we were growing up as kids, we thought that what we saw on television was like way out there. Like, wow, it was in New York or it was in LA. That was it.
Right.
Depending on where you were, but what you seen on television was like, sometimes it was almost like hard to reach. Like, you didn't see successful people typically walking around in your neighborhood. We just didn't have the access. But, you know, once you were able to put this phone in front of you, what happened is, like, we realized that we were able to be that for other people and give them that message and make people, even within our local community, see that you really don't, your people are really not that far away.
No.
I mean, I'm showing, such as yourself, that we're covering this podcast, and my goal was to show them that people can be accessible if they have intentions of being transparent and meeting you where they are. You just got to know how to go out there and reach them and talk to them and open your phone, make an effort, make an attempt. Part of life is just about showing up.
Yeah. But see, the biggest thing is that I've learned, man, is that you got to take you out of the equation. And that's a tough thing to deal with because as human nature, man, we selfish. You know what I mean? Like, we think about ourselves. We want the spotlight. Here's the good thing about me. I don't want the spotlight. For real. Like, I don't even want it. And when I go in front of the 50 billion people, like, I'm so happy to be in a place where when they give me the credit, I can be like, no, hold up, let's stop. They go right there. See, I'm not responsible at that point where I don't take the pressure.
I got you.
I give it to God.
I got you.
Because I understand that whatever I do and all that I do, it's not my doing. Like, I'm not this smart. Like, I don't have this much skills. Like I didn't go to school for this. Like, I didn't go to school for theology. I don't have a bishop or a pastor in my life or taught me none of this. And yet it was there. Like nobody taught Michael Jordan how to dribble. He had to dribble. He was born with that. We all got that. We all got that thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I was out there promoting Jay-Z and all these different, I can name all the artists, we could be here forever. When I was promoting these cats, these people, I didn't know that one of these days I was going to take the same skill and promote JC. Like I promoted Jay-Z and now I'm promoting Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Bars.
Yeah, but I'm not doing it in a whack way. Like there's nothing whack about him. You know what I mean? Like yo, I'm still the energy's still here.
Yeah.
The you know what I'm saying?
You like when you said in the beginning, you was like, you know, I was this street guy, and I took this energy and I put it into hip hop.
Yeah.
You still using that same mentality
No
and
doubt.
that same enthusiasm, but you're giving it to Christ.
Hey man, people need to see this though,
Yeah.
man. I mean, because people think that, you know, we confused in religion, right, with relationship. And I understand why people are shying away from this. But understand this, I was a real dude. Like, I wasn't a dude who's trying to make it. I made it. I experienced life at its highest. So for me to be doing this, there's something real about God that has me in this position for me to walk away from that to do this.
Yeah.
Because I was making like 100,000 a night. All right, so I'm making 100 stacks a night doing parties, all-star weekends, and all of that. All right, boom.
Yeah, I'm just sorry. I'm just a little bit winded.
Let me paint this picture for you. Let me paint the picture for you. A dude making $100,000 doing parties, concerts, whatever the case is. I ain't putting no money out. I'm just doing. I'm using Jay's name, Ja's name, whoever else. I'm using their name, signing contracts. So I'm making money. So money ain't an issue. I got a lot of chicks who like me because I look so good with money. So I'm living my life, right? But yet, I walk away from that to pursue this. I walked away from what I knew to pursue what I did not know.
Did Jay look
that don't make sense.
Did Jay look at you like?
He did. He was like, "Yo, what's going on?" I remember one time talking to him, right after my transition. He was like, "So tell me this, man. You still listen to hip hop?" I was like, "Nah." He was like, he was confused.
Wow, man.
And there's nothing wrong with hip hop.
Yeah.
I love hip hop. I rock to Ever Be a Rakim and I rock to Jay. I just play the clean versions.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
I don't want that all of that.
That energy, yeah.
Yeah. So I still rock the hip hop. I'm a hip hop dude. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't like the cuss words and the bringing down the women and all that. I won't listen to that.
Hey, we got 20 minutes left in this podcast, and I reached out to the audience of people who I knew that had interest in some of the questions. So I got some questions from the audience today that they want to ask you. Okay, so I think I got about 5 questions here.
Okay.
Let's see. Women want men to be men and partners. But what does being a man really mean to a... Well, I think you've already kind of answered that. What does being a man really mean to a woman? And what does being a man really mean to being a... What does being a man really mean to a man? But I think you've answered that in the beginning.
Yeah, but also what I could add to that, you know, as a man, a man needs to understand that a woman is looking for a man who has her front, back, and side. Like, you know, love is not the most important thing in a relationship. Trust is, because I can love you and not trust you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So a woman needs to know that a man has her best interest, and security is the key word. But the problem is that as men, a lot of times when we hear the word security, we take that with money. Now, money is a part of security, but it's not all. Because we see all the time that a woman could be with a man who has all this money and still not be fulfilled in his presence.
Yeah.
So when you are truly a man after a woman's own heart, you become security minded.
Okay.
I told my wife just last night, when you ain't right, I'm not right. If there's a problem, I'm going to fix it. Straight up. I don't care what it is. I stop everything to make sure that she's good. Because I understand that her happiness is something that I have to be able to go ahead and give what she needs to make sure that she can give me what I need. So I'm investing in her only to get back a harvest back in return, right? So security is very important, because if you don't guard your woman, then something will come and steal her from you. Not someone, and someone can, But more than likely,
Basically,
it's
the
a
devil's
thing.
getting in.
Oh, absolutely. That's what happened in the Garden of Eden. Absolutely.
So tell me what you think about this statement. Women want men to be men, but only when they want them to.
Well, that's a woman who has an issue. And that's a woman who, I speak to women all the time. And when a woman has a problem with the word submission, but so do men.
Yeah.
Right? And because we don't understand what submission means. Like submission, automatically, when we hear that word, we thinking like dictator.
Yeah.
Right? But in the Gospels, according to God, in the Bible, when that word submission is spoken, that means that you are the lead servant. That's what it means. Like when the man is called the leader, he is the lead servant. So when a woman is having an issue submitting to a man and a man is not submitting to God, then you're going to have that glitch in that relationship, right?
Gotcha.
So what a man needs to do is live by example to serve his woman. Now, a woman may have an issue because her dad may not have been in the picture, or she may have had a bad relationship. All of these things happen. But when you give the formula that's needed and she's able to partake of that, it will bring her around eventually. It's a slow grind though.
Okay.
Because then I have to let down my wall in order to let you back in again after I put it up. And that's a process.
Yeah.
It's a process.
Okay. What do you whether we're talking about a man, single woman, or grandparent, either or, what do you feel like are the challenges for those three individuals when it comes to raising a child without having a significant other?
You know,
Or paternal, maternal parents?
I think that the greatest issue in raising a child is not knowing. And let me explain that, right? Ever since 2001, this is 18 years now, I have dedicated my life to deprogramming and reprogramming myself. And I'm not afraid to admit that everything that I knew up to that point was all wrong, right? So the parent that I am today isn't the parent that I was back in 1986. I did things based on that information and that insight, which was wrong. I can openly admit that I did a terrible job in raising my firstborn because I didn't raise her with the right information. So I was abusive because I repeated what I got, right? So I had to now identify that abuse that you received from your family was wrong. So now I had to raise Sky, which is our youngest, in a different way. So I think that the hardest thing that we would have to do, and this is really difficult for a lot of people, is to really sit down and do an inventory of your life and look and see, does this really make sense? Did I do this the right way? And when you acknowledge that it's wrong, now you got to go through a process of upgrading your data, upgrading your software, your mind, your thinking. So for a parent now, the most important thing, grandparent, father, mother, whatever the case is to get the proper information so you know what it is to be a productive parent. Because people who are not productive in parenting produces children who would not be productive eventually and become adults. And that's what's called a generational cycle of curses. Because we repeat what we do not overcome.
Yeah, I think sometimes people, they instead of making the right decision, they think like equal, fair. Well, I did this, so I got. That doesn't mean you have to do it again.
Right.
You have to grow and develop. That's,
Yeah.
If you're not making improved choices and improved judgment, then you're not moving in the right direction. I think a lot of people fall short, not only with parenting, but in business and management of people. Because but so if a man or a woman is trying to identify what is their appropriate mate, are there some common things that you feel like they need to be looking for?
Well, one of the things I tell the people who I help out is that you have standards that should never be compromised. And I know there's people out there that tell women and tell other people, especially women though, lower your standards, they're too high. Are you kidding me? What do you mean? Because here's the thing, right? If you have, let's say that you happen to write down what you're looking for in a mate, male or female, right? And let's say that you was to meet someone, but you would say to yourself, well, she has 9 qualities out of the 10, and he has 9 out of the 10. So I'm going to go ahead and just eliminate this one. Well, what you'll find is after 3, 5 years, if you look at your list again, you've done eliminated all 10. It's not that God did not create a human to meet your standards. Like what you're looking for. You're looking for this, and this, and this. That's doable. You know? And those desires, he put it inside of you.
Yeah.
So if he put it inside of you, then he has created someone to meet those desires. It wasn't like, and this is really insightful when you think about it. God is the ultimate matchmaker. Now, truthfully, he's given us the power to choose whoever we want to choose. Like I have chosen women, of course, had kids with women, of course, that I'm not with. Mm-hmm. But the one he chose for me, I'm still with. It wasn't like in the Garden of Eden, Adam had 3 or 4 choices.
Yeah.
He designed a particular person just for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I strongly believe that when you go into prayer and allow him to be the matchmaker, he would bring you that person he designed just for you. I call it tailor-made. There's someone he stitched perfectly just for you. And even if he has to take you from here to Australia to find that person, you would.
Yeah.
So I take myself out of the equation, and when I did, he gave me my beautiful, fine, out of this world. Lord have mercy.
I mean, God. I think you do a great job as a man. It being open and public about your love and your affection for your wife. I mean, man, you model that.
Yeah, I love my wife, man. My wife is my best friend. You know,
and honestly, I think it'd be good for me to have your wife on the podcast because it helped me probably open up my audience to women. Because I don't have a lot of female followers.
Okay, we'll set that up. But yeah. but I understand that, man. My wife is my investment. I do. And just like I would invest in stocks and look over it to make sure I'm not losing, I make sure that the stocks that I put in there is always raising up, man. So it's a constant work, though. When you are in a marriage that's successful, it's constant work, man. So we work at it all the time. But she's my best friend, man. She's my attorney. She's my bodyguard. Oh yeah, she's my bodyguard too, man. She's got that 1-2 for real, man.
Yeah, my wife is too, man. She takes mixed martial arts, so.
Oh wow.
She tells me you go to Gold's Gym. That's nothing. I'm at the MMA Institute.
That's it.
Yes, ma'am.
That's it.
Let's see here. We closed in on 10 minutes. I got a few more questions here.
Sure.
Do you believe people fall in love?
No.
And out of love?
No.
No, it's not genuine love if this is something you could just fall into.
Love is not something you fall into. Because if you fall in love, you can fall out of love, right? Love is something that you learn and grow. It grows, right? Now, with all the technology and all the knowledge of the world, you cannot measure love. You can't tell me where love starts and where love ends. There is no beginning or end to love. Love is the most misunderstood concept in all creation. There's people who would beat someone and said, I beat you because I love you. But love and beating don't go together. Mm-hmm. And see, there are many people who don't understand love because they are trying to define something that's already defined. So what is love? It's simple. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. Love holds no records of wrong. Love never fails. That's what love is, right? So what I've learned, and this is what I teach people as well, that love is really a person. It's not a thing, not an emotion. Love doesn't change because you change. I love you just the same. Now, if I change my love for you based on what you do or do not do, then I'm loving you on condition. But true love is unconditional.
Yeah.
So that means that nothing you do changes the condition of my heart.
Yeah, I think what's key here is that when we talk about love, I tend to think we're also talking about God when we talk about love.
Absolutely.
But the things that you didn't say a few, you didn't say a lot. You said love. But we didn't talk about trust. We didn't talk about respect. And those are things that come within love. Mm-hmm. Because I was reading in your book when I was rereading the first book, and I got to a place that prompted me to ask you this question. When people claim to fall out of love, I tend to think, well, if you fall out of love, you just never loved. But nevertheless, you talk about how you can rebuild trust.
Yeah.
How can you speak to that? How do you go about rebuilding trust and respect and integrity into a relationship where the person thinks that maybe they're not in love anymore?
Well, when you hurt someone, I think one of the key principles is that you have to give a person time to heal, right? And in giving a person time to heal, the problem is that more times than not, we dictate or we put an expiration date on when a person should heal. Shorty, you still going through that? Dude, you still tripping? Wait a minute. You cannot be the one who caused the pain, but then tell me when I should heal from the pain.
Yeah.
Right? So trust can be rebuilt. It takes time like anything else. You can rebuild the trust, right? But you got to give the person everything that person needs, right? So one of the main things to rebuild trust is absolute vulnerability. Vulnerability. So you have to become vulnerable, absolutely vulnerable, transparent in order to rebuild that. Because what hurt me was something that was strong looking. It was dominating, something that was self-centered. But when I look at you now and I see vulnerability, now that's a welcoming environment. That's a welcoming spirit. But if I am met with the same force that hurt me, how can I trust you? But when you're really sorry, when you really feel that, the environment that caused the hurt is no longer there.
And it has to be believable.
Yeah. It got to be
If
believable.
it's not believable, it's not authentic, then it's just not going to happen.
No. And it's something that happens within the person who caused the pain, though.
Yeah.
Because when you really feel like, man, I want to fix this, then you fix it.
Yeah.
You do. You fix it because then you become different. You become the difference. And you're not showcasing the same thing that caused the damage to start with.
You gonna come back for take 2 later?
We can do it, man.
I'm serious.
I got so much in me, man.
I thought to do a series.
I got so much in me, man, and I thank God. I think the most important thing in the world is wisdom. I desire wisdom more than life itself. I desire wisdom more than my wife. I love my wife, but I don't love my wife more than wisdom. She comes second to wisdom. My children are no match for wisdom. And wisdom is the ability, man, that helps me to be a problem solver in this earth. And wisdom is the ability to help me to navigate through this life differently than before. So wisdom is the most important thing in all of the earth. And I believe that when we really go ahead and just refocus and put the energy where it belongs, at that point, we will see mankind and society change. But as long as we put in importance on things that are outside of us, then we are ignoring the things that's more important that are inside of us, okay? And the true wealth comes from the internal. I know a lot of people in the music industry who are very wealthy. I mean, seriously, money out of this world, and yet they're broke. Mm. Yeah, they're broke. I have more than they have. Because I got this.
Yeah.
You can't buy this.
Yeah.
This comes from God. It's a gift. Yeah. Now, it's available to everybody. But if you put more of emphasis on the girl, the car, the jewelry, the house, the money, how much zeros in the account, man, whatever, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? None of that stuff matters, man.
Yeah.
You know, what profit a person to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul, man? Yeah. When I go to sleep at night, I go to sleep for real. I'm like ugly sleeping. You know what I mean? Like I'm like stupid ugly sleep.
Deep sleep all the way.
All the way. It's sweet rest. It's sound rest. Because I got things, but the things don't have me.
That's real, man.
Yeah.
You've had Enrique Pascal give you a lot of gems, a lot of jewels. We appreciate your time.
Oh man.
Every interview I close the same way. Okay, I ask you these typically 1-word questions.
All right.
Chicken or fish?
Oh man, all day fish, man. Yeah.
Pork or beef?
None.
Good.
Neither. Neither.
Favorite hip hop artist, R&B artist?
My favorite hip hop artist, old school and new school. Can I give you 2?
Yeah.
All right. Of course, Jay-Z.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Jay-Z, rock him.
Yeah. Yeah.
All day.
So you put Jay-Z with a new school?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely, man. Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Man, Jay-Z, I don't think Jay will ever be old school. You know
Yeah,
why?
I don't think he's always relevant, man.
Because his mind is always...
It's amazing. He's 50. He's pushing 50 years old, and
Well, he'll be 50 this year, I think, right? Yeah,
December
this year.
4th.
December 4th, he'll be 50 this year. Man, Jay's light years away. He's always been light years away.
Do you think Jay's doing God's work right now?
I don't know. I know. I believe that Jay's doing good work.
Yeah.
But I can't say he's doing God work because if he doesn't acknowledge and give the credit to where it belongs, then he's doing the work.
Gotcha.
See, like I'm doing good work.
Yeah.
I am. But everybody knows that I give God the credit.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care about that. Now, if Jay does not say thank God for the gift, the talent, skills, and I'm doing this because of him, then he's not doing God's work. He's doing Jay's work.
Gotcha. I read that out there recently. I'm glad you dropped that pointer. Do you have a favorite local artist in Virginia? Do you have a favorite?
You know what? I forgot to mention Lonnie V, man.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I remember back then, man, when Lonnie V. Also, what's Danger Mouth, man? Super Friends, man. Yeah. When he did the Aaliyah remix, man, yeah. Shouts out to them cats, man.
Shout out.
For real, man. Yeah, my dudes right there. Those are my guys, man.
You have a favorite local restaurant?
Southern Kitchen. Shout out to Shane Roberts. What's up, Shane? What's up? Southern Kitchen, man, the food is banging.
Yes.
And then Shane every week has someone performing. If y'all did not go there, go to Southern Kitchen. The food is amazing.
Hometown hero. I know you've moved around, but like, was there someone that you looked up to as a kid growing up?
You know what, man? I just love what they did to rename this place here, man. Is it North Arthur Ashe Boulevard?
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, we on Arthur Ashe Boulevard right now.
Arthur Ashe Boulevard.
Shout out to Enso Media.
Yeah, shout out to that, man. When I saw that, man, and I saw they do that. So when I drive down the boulevard now, I'm like, Arthur Ashe.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about the movement,
Special.
Yeah.
Hey, I know you're a very faithful, devoted husband.
Yeah.
But did you have a celebrity crush growing up?
Growing up, celebrity crush. Yeah, of course.
Who was it?
So many. I remember, man, BET, Marilyn Woods was banging.
Yeah.
Oh, she was off the chain banging. You know, of course, who don't like J-Lo? You know what I mean? Like J-Lo. But Marilyn Woods, man, I used to have a big thing for her, man. I'm like, man, Marilyn Woods, you on point, kid.
Last question. I know you're a New York guy, so I'm assuming you're a Giants, Knicks fan, everything New York fan when it comes to sports, or
no.
you have a favorite sports team?
Man, listen, man, I used to be so down for the Knicks, but I cried too many days for the Knicks, so I gave it up. Okay. I did follow Mark Jackson when he coached Golden State. Okay. So I'm a Golden State guy. I'm not a bandwagon kind of guy, but I like Golden State when Mark had them, so I stayed with them.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So Golden State is my team for basketball.
Enrique, man, it's been a pleasure. This has been a definitely humbling experience to get the jewels, the guidance, the mentorship. Yeah. Again, I look up to you, sir.
Oh, thank you, brother.
I'm hands a little clammy, but hey.
No, you good, man.
Hey.
Look, same here, man. You're doing an awesome job. Keep doing it, man. You are changing the world, man, for real.
Hey, man, I'm just trying to do my part, man.
You're doing it.
In return, I'm seeking favor from God that what I'm doing can be a blessing to someone else. Man.
It is a blessing because what you're doing is you're taking that part of God who he put on the inside of you, and now you're offering it to the world. So keep doing what you're doing. God is waiting for you, and you will succeed and do great and mighty things in the world.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is episode 13 of the Randy Wilson Podcast. This podcast has been brought to you by Enso Media. Sam the Man. You need to check him out. He's over here at 205... Arthur Ashe Boulevard. Phenomenal things he's doing here in Richmond, Virginia, and throughout Virginia. And he's willing to jump in a plane for you. So, like, he can come to you. I really want to shout out Sam. I want to shout out Too Tall Visuals also for doing photography during this event. And stay tuned. This is episode 13 of the Randy Wilson Podcast. Follow on all podcast channels, and we'll see you soon.